Hello guys, and a very warm welcome back to my channel. So this is another video lecture for all of you guys, and in this video lecture we will be starting up with the India-Nepal relations. So we will be talking about the bilateral relations between India and Nepal. So before starting up, I would like to tell you that you are at a YouTube channel where we are providing you with free UPSC preparation. It is completely free, where you know when you go to normal institute you will have to spend around 2 lakhs in a normal institute. So here we are providing you completely free. The reason being, first of all, I believe that education should be free, and secondly, we are just starting up, so we will be providing you free lectures, and we are here covering GS for both prelims as well as mains. Okay, and we would be covering up the answer writing session also. So everything related to UPSC, a complete package for 1 year या फिर around 11 to 12 months, we'll see, but इतना रहेगा, around 1 year आपका रहेगा. ठीक है, it depends upon how fast we complete our syllabus. So this is the thing. So now I've already created many videos where I've discussed about India Bangladesh relations. I discussed about India China relations. I discussed about the basic foreign policies of India, and many more important topics have already been discussed. I would like all of you to check out that videos first, and in this video we'll be starting up with the fresh topic of India Nepal relationships. So now let's begin. So first of all, let us talk about the history or creation of Bangladesh. Sorry, creation of Nepal. From the previous lecture, I'm just speaking Bangladesh. Okay, so the creation of Nepal, we are going to talk about. So when we talk about Nepal, so in around 1766, there was Prithvi Narayan Shah. Prithvi Narayan Shah was the leadership there. Prithvi, sorry for this, my mouse is not working properly. Okay, Prithvi Narayan Shah. Okay, Prithvi Narayan Shah in 1766 was in power. Then in 1814 to 1816 there was a war that is known as Anglo-Nepal War. Okay, that is known as Anglo-Nepal War. Okay, so Anglo-Nepal War was there, which was a war for independence of Nepal. So earlier Nepal was not independent under Prithvi Narayan Shah. Then there was an Anglo-Nepal War for independence. They wanted to have independence of Nepal. Okay, and during the British rule, the Gorkha community of Nepal, they are recruited in the army, British army, and the trend continues till now. They are known for their loyalty to the army. So they were recruited a lot from Nepal, and till now still India also recruits them. They are recruited in Indian army as well. Okay, in Indian army as well. So this was the thing. Then by around 1850s, Nepal's administration was with Rana. He was a hereditary king known as Rana, Rana, Rana. He was a hereditary king. Okay, and the administration was with Rana, and he was the prime minister of Nepal. Okay. Then by 1940s, Rana, they become very unpopular. Okay, why did they become unpopular? Because of their extremist and selfish behavior, they became unpopular. Okay, and during the Indian freedom struggle, Nepali Congress was formed. When India was struggling for freedom, there was a party that formed, that is known as Nepali Congress, that was formed. Okay, so Nepali Congress was formed. And in India, parallelly, there was Indian National Congress that was formed. Indian National Congress. Sorry for overlapping. Indian National Congress. Okay, so that was being formed. Then then let us go to around 1951. Around 1951. Around 1951, the king. Then king came to power again. King's power was restored. King Tribhuvan. Okay, there was a king known as King Tribhuvan, and King Tribhuvan power was restored. Okay, then according to US, Nepal, like there is a concept known as buffer state. Buffer state. There is this concept known as buffer state, where what happens is that it is a state which is between, okay, which is between China and India. Nepal is there, India, China is there. Okay, so this is a state between China and India. Okay, and this is known as buffer state. Why? Because this is a state, because India and China relations are not that good. Okay, so Nepal is acting like a state which is in between both of them and would be hence it is known as a buffer state. It is like we are not in direct contact with China because of Nepal. Okay, so that's the thing. And also Nepal benefits a lot, because we'll see it further. Being in between the two rival nations, this Nepal also gets some benefits. Okay, so we'll see that politics after we'll have a basic discussion about India-Nepal relationships. Okay, so after King Tribhuvan, he died. After he died, then there was a king known as Mahendra. King Mahendra. Okay, Mahendra came, and Mahendra's policy was they are not friendly with India. With India, they are not that friendly. Okay. Then in around 1972, there was a king who was known as King Bijendra. Okay, his name was King Bijendra. So when King Bijendra came to power, he is also not having good relations with India. He don't want to maintain good relations with India. Okay, so that was a state. Then in around 19, we talked about 1972. Then in around 1990s, there was a popular revolt. Okay, and after that revolt, Nepal was made into a constitutional monarchy. Okay, constitutional monarchy. So but this one was not very stable. Okay, this one was not very stable. So in around 1996, Maoist came and they wanted to create a kind of a Maoist came, okay, and they wanted to have a kind of a revolutionary republic through the armed struggle. Okay, so they believed in using arms for struggle. Okay, so armed struggle. Then 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 in around 2001, in around 2001, King Bijendra was killed. Okay, then King King Bijendra came to power. He was in power, of course, and then he was killed. Okay, he was killed or assassinated. He was no, was he assassinated? Just a minute. Yeah, he was assassinated in the palace, in his palace, in a shootout that happened. Okay, and King's brother, his name was Gyanendra. G Y Gyanendra. Gyanendra was his name. He was king's brother and he came to power. Okay. Then when he came to power, he was not a kind of a democrat. He was not a democrat, and he was in like he was somewhere in the control of Maoist, but then he captured power and then he established his own direct rule in 2004. In 2004, he established his direct rule. Direct rule. Okay. Then in around 2006, the king was thrown out. Okay, he was thrown out by the collaboration of various political parties. They collaborated. Various political parties formed a collateral government. They collaborated, and the king was thrown. Then from around 2006, after 2006 till 2015, there was an interim constitution, and the Maoists gave up their arms. Okay, and they participated. Maoists also participated in the democratic election and etc. Okay, so all these democratic things they did. Then in 2015, new constitution came into power. Okay, new constitution came into power. Okay, new constitution came into power, and there it was passed in a bit in a good amount of hurry, and there were the major parties that contested were Nepal Congress, which I told you, which formed during the Nepalese revolution. Nepal Congress was a major party. Then secondly, there was Communist Party, led by Maoist. Okay, and so these were the two major parties that contested. Okay, then there was another communist party. There were basically two communist parties. So there was another communist party. This one was led by Maoist. And the other communist party, another communist party was there. And this party was basically called United Marxist Leninist. I will write here United, you all know United. Okay, Marxist, M-A-R, Marxist, X-I-S-T, United Marxist Leninist, sorry, L-E-N-I-N-I-S-T, L-E-N-I-N-I-S-T. ठीक है, अगर यहाँ पे क्लियर नहीं है तो मैं यहाँ लिख देती हूँ लेनिनिस्ट की स्पेलिंग L-E-N-I-N-I-S-T, Leninist. Okay, so this was UML. United Marxist Leninist. This was another communist party. So there were three parties in total. Okay. Now, historically speaking, there needs to be a bit of history that you guys need to know. Okay, so historically, Nepal was divided into two groups of people, or two parts, as so to say. Internally, hills, one was people from the hills region, and other were the peoples from terrain region. Okay, so from hills region and from terrain region. Okay, now the people from the hills were called paharis, paharis, and the people from the terrain were called as Madeshis. Madeshis, Madeshis. Okay, the people from the terrain were called Madeshis. So Pahadis and Madeshis. So Pahadis were at a elite position. Okay, they were in the elite positions and they enjoyed most of the power in the constitution, whereas the Madeshis were treated as second class citizens and they were not in the decision making bodies, and their needs and priorities were not taken care of by the Pahadis. Okay. So there was a kind of a protest. Okay. Also in the constitution of Nepal, certain rights were not given to Madeshis. Okay, the equal rights were not there for Madeshis because it was created, it was all, a creation of Paris, so they took into consideration their matters and not the matters of the Madeshis community people living there. Okay, so because after the constitutional discrimination that they faced, they went to protest and they protested. Okay, which led to further economic blockade economic blockade blockade blockade. So economic blockade happened, meaning that all like India and Nepal border, at the India Nepal border, all of the borders were all of the borders were blocked by the protesters, and there was no trade that was able to have, and there was a kind of a economic blockade that was created, so no trade was happening. Okay, so there were three economic blockades that happened, and this one happened in 2015 most recently. Okay, and India supported the blockade, which led to ill will between Nepal and India, which we'll talk about further. Okay, so this blockade, it affected the people of hills more than the people on land. Why? Because they are living in the hilly region. Okay, they are living in the hilly region, and it is already very difficult to to send things on the hilly region, and also after the economic blockade it become even more difficult. Okay, for the people of land it was not that difficult as it was for the hilly region people. Okay, so this was a case. So finally, just a minute guys. Finally, Nepal passed the constitution. A new constitution was created and a new constitution was passed in Nepal. Okay, which said that Nepal is republic republic. They claim that their constitution is republic, their constitution is secular. Okay, and their constitution is democratic. democratic, and they have a bicameral legislation. Bicameral legislation, and there is a federal form of government. Federation is there. I hope you all know the meaning of all these terms. We have studied this in 9th NCRT. If you don't know, I would like all of you to go through the class 9th NCRT or Google it, because this is something that you should know. Okay, so there were seven states were there in total in Nepal. Okay, but this constitution, instead of claiming all of these things, republic, secular, democratic, bicameral, federation, okay, they practiced, instead of uniting people together of seven states, there was a kind of a division. It is a divisive, it is a divergent kind of constitution, and hence it created a lots and lots of internal issues. Okay, then elections that happened was based, the next election that happened was based on this constitution only. And then communist party of Nepal. Okay, there was Communist Party of Nepal, um, which won with UML and the Maoist Party. It was a collision, it was a collateral between them. Okay, so now let us talk about the year 2000, the year 2008 to 2018. Okay, so of course economic blockade happened in between this time. KP Sharma Oli was the was the prime minister, and he was from UML. KP Sharma Oli was the PM, and he is from UML till 2018. Okay, actually he just I will talk about it. He was even after 2018. We'll talk about it. Okay, so it was a collateral government, as you guys can see, between UML and Maoist, and it was agreed that from the term of 5 years of being a president, it was divided into 2.5 term between a leader from UML and 2.5 with of the leader of, like, for 2.5 year a leader from UML would rule, and from the other 2.5 year the leader of Maoist Communist Party would rule. But when there was a time to step down in 2018, he became, so in 2020, when there was a time to step down for KP Sharma Oli, he denied that. He refused to step down, okay, as a PM, and this led to a lots and lots of infighting between UML and Maoist government. Okay, so then there was a lots and lots of infighting that happened, and then Supreme Court of Nepal has to intervene. So Supreme Court intervened, and this dissolution was cancelled. Okay, and then both of them were told to not to make a party, and election happened again. So in 2021, very recently, to be precise, on July 2021, in around, I think, July 16, okay, 2021, Nepali Congress leader, the third party, okay, so a party was made from not any one of them but the third party. So Nepali Congress, okay, so Nepali Congress made the party, and from Nepali Congress, I think I just give me a minute. Okay, so he was Sher Bahadur, Sher Bahadur Debua, Debua, Sher Bahadur Debua was the leader from Nepali Congress, and he took the position of PM of Nepal. Okay. They also proved their majority of around 160 plus, because sorry, Maoist gave their support to Sher Debua after the infighting that happened, and they won 160 plus seats out of total 275 seats, and they proved their majority also. And Sher Bahadur Debua is now, this is you, okay, Sher Bahadur Debua is now the PM. And also in 2021 itself, the Supreme Court also declared the creation of the two Maoist party as illegal. Okay, and the president of Nepal is still, and she was also during KP Sharma's time, Vidya Vidya Vidya. Today there is lots and lots of issues with my mouse. I don't know why. Okay, so there was Vidya Kumari Bhandari Bhandari. She is PM, and she also didn't, she supported KP Sharma Oli's party because she was also from UML. So she supported them, and she didn't, said anything related to all of the infighting and refusal of KP Sharma Oli to step down. Instead, she has given his support to, KP Sharma Oli. Okay, so now let us look at a recent border dispute. I think I would be able to complete this India-Nepal relation in this video itself. Let's see. Okay, so now let us study about our border disputes. Okay, border disputes. Border disputes between India and Nepal. Okay, so first of all, in the Kalapalli region, Kala Pani please ignore the background voice. Kala Pani region, okay, it is a dispute there. So I will show you this through a map. So there was a revised map which was published by India in November 2019. Okay, and there was a revised map that was published by India, and it showed this Kalapalli region. Okay, and there is a Lipuleh region, Lipuleh, Lipuleh region, which was also shown under India, and this is a disputed region. Kalapani is in Lipuleh area, and this is a disputed region, and it was shown into India. So this was a move which led to certain increasing our disputes. Okay, so let me show you a map. Okay, so here you guys can see this orange colored region. Okay, and this is India, this is Nepal, and this orange colored region is the disputed area. Okay, this is the Kala Pani, Lipu Lake and Limpia Dhura. Okay, so there is a river which originates from Limpia Dhuva and it goes through here, and this river is also, Kala Pani is also, Kala Pani is basically the name Kali, the name of the river is Kali, and this is place is Kala Pani, Lipu Lake. All of this India included in its map. Okay, but Nepal claims that you know that the boundary should, all of this area should be under Nepal, but India doesn't claim that. India claims this area. So there is a dispute in this area between Nepal and India related to this disputed area. So in May 2020, the defense minister inaugurated a 80-kilometer road through Ghatia, G-A Ghatia, Ghati, Bagraha. Okay, 80-kilometer road to Lipule Pass. Okay, there was a Lipule Pass to there. This road was inaugurated. So it was a move by India which Nepal didn't like. Also, it was already decided. There was a treaty. There was a treaty that is known as there is a treaty of Sugauli, and this along, according to this treaty, it was between British India and Nepal, and it was decided Nepal got freedom much before India did. Okay, so there was a treaty of Sugauli, which according to which the origin, the place from where the river Kali is flowing, that would be the boundary between the Nepal and India. And the map, which was original map, which was published by Britishers, they showed the origin of Kali from Kala Pani. Okay, from here river Kali originates. So after this move of India publishing the map and claiming this whole area under India, Nepal also published a map in reciprocity, and they showed all of this area under Nepal. In May 2020 they published a map. Okay, May 2020 they published a map. Okay, so this is a border dispute. Now I would like to talk to you guys about, just wait a minute. Okay, so now let us study about the there is a very important topic that I would like to talk about, which is Nepal and China, because Nepal and China are coming very closer to each other. You guys have read in the news also, so we need to talk about their Nepal China relation, a kind of an analysis that we are going to do here. Sorry. So after the economic blockade of 2015 that happened, okay, KP Sharma Oli was the prime minister, so India supported it. Then what did KP Sharma Oli do? That he landed in Beijing when he saw that India is supporting the economic blockade. So he landed in Beijing and signed a treaty with China, which is known as Nepal-China Transient Treaty. Okay, Nepal-China Transit Treaty, and they agreed in under this treaty for a infrastructure linkage with China. Okay, so they would create, Nepal would create a linkage with China. So this was under the treaty. Then China was also opening, China is also opening a road link that is from Lhasa to Kathmandu. Lhasa, Kathmandu, Lhasa, Kathmandu road link would be opened by China. And China also gave around $200 million of soft loan to Nepal for constructing airport at Pokhara, Pokhara in Nepal. Pokhara in Nepal. Okay, so this was the thing. So in 2018 there was an investment summit in, also in 2018 there was an investment summit in Nepal, and China offered more than $8 billion. Okay, so China was offered more than $8 billion investment, which was more than 60% of all foreign direct investment proposed till now. More than 60%. Okay, now also in 2000, also in around 2017. Okay, so there was a joint military exercise that also happened between China and Nepal. There was a joint military exercise that happened. Okay, it was called Sagar Sagarmatha Friendship. Okay, it was called Sagarmatha Friendship. Also in 2019, October 2019, Chinese President Xi Jinping, he visited Kathmandu. Okay, and the China's, China always had the policy of India of getting India's smaller neighbor into Chinese orbit, and Nepal would like to take that. Nepal know that, being a buffer state between China and India, being a buffer state between China and India. So this is a buffer state. So what would Nepal already know that there are like rivalry relation between China and India. So did he take advantage? Nepal take advantage of that. If India is not meeting the needs, if they're not meeting with the whatever Nepal wants, then they would go towards they go closer towards China, and vice versa they can do. So it would create a pressure on that country in order to just listen to whatever Nepal is saying. So this is a kind of a tactics that is used, and they are taking advantage of them being the buffer state. Okay, so this is the thing. So strategic reasons for increase in the importance of, there were certain strategic reasons, of course. strategic response which is involved in the relationship of India and China. Um, so देखो, we know that Nepal borders with Tibet, and Tibet is something that China is very skeptical about, and they want, to have a eye on Tibet basically, and Tibetans. So there are like 20,000 Tibets in exile in Nepal, around 20,000 Tibets who are in exile in Nepal. Okay, and China would like to keep a track of their activities, of the Tibetans. So strategically, it is important for China. Nepal is important. Okay. Also in 2019, they wanted to sign a treaty with Nepal, which is known as Treaty of extradition. Okay, treaty of extradition, which was not signed, so they want that treaty to be signed as well. Okay, by befriending Nepal, the balance of the power will shift in the favor of China, of course. Okay, friending Nepal would shift the power politics. Okay, by breaking the India's sphere of influence. Also the Belt and Road Initiative, which we talked about yesterday in detail. The Nepal also joined Belt and Road Initiative, and China hence wanted to have a good relation with Nepal, because it would help Chinese to export their capital and neighbor to Nepal. And there are many of the infrastructure projects that were already going on. Nepal's strategic interest in China. So improved relations with China, of course, India will become a lot more receptive towards Nepal. Okay, India will become a lot more receptive, and the relation with Nepal with China, the India will get Nepal to create the economic infrastructure. Okay, so China would also create infrastructure. Okay, and earlier Nepal used to feel vulnerable to Indian pressures when it didn't have good relation with China, but now they could have a better bargain. Okay, so also we supported many economic blockades. So at that point of time, China is going to be helpful for Nepal. So in future also economic blockades could happen. Okay, okay. So now let us see the causes for China's resentment for India. Causes causes for Nepal's resentment towards India. So first of all, India supporting the economic blockades is a economic blockades supported by which are supported by India is a point of issue in economic blockades happened in 1975, then it also happened in 1989, and then it also happened in 2015. So these are the certain economic blockades which created huge anti-India sentiments, and that's why there is a irritation, and the trade transit increased with China. Also, the border dispute that we studied, okay, Lipule, Kala Pani. So there is this border dispute also we studied. Also, in Kala Pani we constructed a unilaterally a road, okay, and Nepalis who are working in India, okay, they work at low paid jobs. That is also an issue. Okay, they work at a low paid jobs in India, especially like guards, and also that is something which Nepal don't like. Okay, also there is a issue regarding Buddha's birthplace. Buddha's birthplace. Buddha's birthplace. Okay, so it was a issue between India and China, and both of them are claiming that Buddha took birth in their countries. But if historically we see though, then Buddha took birth in Nepal only. Okay, he came to India to attain enlightenment and then spread Buddhism, but his birthplace was in Nepal. Okay, so there is a issue relating to the birthplace. And then Nepal is upset about India's big brother behavior, not the caring one, but the other one where it shows dominance over Nepal. So this is a term we use for dominance. Okay, big brother behavior of India towards Nepal. Okay, like uh, India, there was a high impact of India's high influence of India in Nepal's internal politics as well, till the time KP Sharma Oli didn't came to power. So after him, he grew more closer towards China, and whatever India was doing earlier is now done by China. Okay, and China is is a big influence on their politics. Also, unequal diplomatic agreement, unequal. Okay, unequal diplomatic agreement. Okay, agreements like what should we say, like the river agreements that took place. River agreements are there. Okay, like Gandaki river, Gan Gandaki river sharing, and then Roshi Roshi Mahakali. Okay, Mahakali treaty in people of Nepal and India, they feel that people of Nepal feel that their resources are going to be exploited. Then another issue is employment of Gorkhas that I told you. Gorkhas who are already appointed since the time of British army, and now also they are being appointed in India in the army of India. So these were certain causes of Nepal's resentment towards India. Now let us study about what could be the solution, because that is what we need after all. Okay, okay. So now let's see what needs to be done. What needs to be done? We should recognize the limitation of the concept of nation state. Okay, there is no sense in talking about the special relationship with Kathmandu when people don't want it. And India should be more than willing to renegotiate. Basically, this is the first point I would like to make. Renegotiate all of the treaties that we already made, which in which they feel that they have not been given an equal say. So we should renegotiate. Please don't mind my spelling. Okay, renegotiate. It's just my mouse is not working well today. Also, there should be a greater understanding that the relationship is built on sentiments, which is built on sentiments would not last long, and the relationship should be based on the shared interest. Okay, so we should look for the more of the shared interest, and we should try to have we should try to talk to Nepal and have more better relationships. And we should not support all those economic blockades, because Madeshis are not Indians. Okay, they are Nepalis, and Paharis are Nepalis. Okay, they were the people of India or origin at some point of time, but they are the part of Nepal since a very long time, and we should consider that as internal affair, and we should not interfere in that, and we should not also support economic blockade and things like that, because this creates ill will towards Nepal. Okay, and of course we should also renegotiate the river agreements that I mentioned earlier. Okay, river agreement should be renegotiated, and there should be the Nepal India should open more borders. Okay, we have more of the open border, and we should encourage more of the tourism, and increase in the tourism and people to people contact, increase in tourism, because already Nepal is tourism driven, so we should focus on that and increase in people to people contact. Okay, then also there is a new constitution that is declared in Nepal. Okay, so India should work unifiedly with Nepal, and India should take look into the fact that we both have constitution, we both wanted to maintain democracy, in India being the biggest democracy, we should support Nepal in this case. Okay, so these are the certain things that needs to be done on improving our relationship with Nepal. So this is all about Indian Nepal relationship. We have completed the whole topic. Then the next topic that we'll be talking about in the next video is going to be India Sri Lanka relations. Okay, and this is also a good interesting topic to be studied, and we'll talk about India Afghanistan also soon. So this is it about today, and I hope you like this video. If you like it, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Just go right now, subscribe and like and share with your friends who need it. Okay, so take care till the time. Stay tuned, we'll be coming up with more videos. Now I'm just posting videos very you know very frequently, so I hope you guys are enjoying that, and thank you so much guys, and have a very nice day. Bye.